Hello, Duke fans. Welcome in to the Duke Blue Devils Insider Podcast, your daily podcast for all things Duke Blue Devils news. Just like every day, we thank you so much for tuning into the show today to get your latest on the Duke Blue Devils. My name is Hugh Strain, your daily host, as well as beat writer at Duke Blue Devils on SI. Happy to chat with you guys today, as well as every single day about the Blue Devils. Make sure to check us out at si.com/college/Duke, as well as wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever that may be. We've got you guys covered. This is our show for Monday, June 22nd. Obviously, we're still in that dead summer mode. Not too much action going on for the football program, for the basketball program, for really any program on campus. We are in the thick of the offseason, especially after the NBA Finals, kind of in the dog days of the sports world altogether. Just for sports fans, got some baseball going on, but that is just about it. Obviously, the World Cup helps that a lot, which we normally don't have. Team USA having a lot of success right now. Had the U.S. Open on the PGA Tour this past weekend. Wyndham Clark with a fantastic victory. But for you guys, the fans, Duke fans, not too much going on right now. A little bit going on with Duke recruiting in the future. A couple recruits that Duke and Jon Scheyer have been interested in the 2027 recruiting class. New national recruiting rankings at 247 Sports have recently come out, and Duke's top targets in the 2027 class so far have seen a jump in their rankings. Obviously, we know how elite of a recruiter that Jon Scheyer has been since he took over at Duke. Duke sealed the number one overall 2026 high school recruiting class, highlighted by five-star prospects Cameron Williams, Deron Rippey Jr., Bryson Howard, and Joaquim Boumtje. Four-star 7-foot center Maxime Meyer out of Canada is also a part of that class. But Duke is bringing in the number one overall recruiting class. This is the third season in a row where Duke has sealed the number one overall high school recruiting class, according to 247 Sports. Jon Scheyer is a recruiting mastermind. Obviously, he's got the brand of Duke to his advantage. Pretty awesome brand to sell, but it's also how he's developed these prospects and turned them into NBA guys quickly so many different times. That's also obviously giving him and his staff pretty major advantage on the recruiting trail. Don't have to look back far to see this coming draft. On Tuesday night, Duke will see two of its former players drafted in the first round. Cameron Boozer will probably be the number 3 overall pick to the Memphis Grizzlies, and Isaiah Evans just wrapped up his sophomore year in Durham, will be selected towards the end of the first round. In that 20 to 30 range, his stock has been a bit volatile over the past couple weeks, as we've talked about on previous shows, but he will be selected in the first round. Both of those players did receive green room invites, which is specifically significant for Isaiah Evans. Kind of feels like he's a lock to be a first-round pick, getting invited to the green room. Not that he ever wasn't, but his stock was so volatile. I had seen him mocked at pick 20. I had seen him mocked at pick 30. Obviously, a bit of a risky decision. Not really risky. I guess it's sort of a gamble is the right way to call it. You know, he's probably leaving money on the table heading to the NBA now and being a late first-round pick as opposed to heading back to college. Even if it wasn't at Duke, odds are a college program would have paid him more at the college level next season than he will make in his first year NBA salary. But obviously made that jump to the NBA. He's a lengthy 3-and-D wing. He can get hot at any moment. He's got a lot of confidence. He's an effective defender. A role will be carved out for him in the league in today's NBA. Obviously, 3-point shooting is such a big deal. And then we all know about Cam Boozer. Over the last few weeks, Malik Brown has received a little bit more draft buzz. Good chance he gets selected in the second round after really not appearing on many draft boards at all early throughout the NBA pre-draft process. I've talked about him, why I think he deserves to get drafted, his defensive intangibles, his instincts, his versatility at 6'9". I don't see how an NBA franchise couldn't use that. Does he have a big offensive game? No, he's not going to go get you 15 points and 10 boards probably, but he'll get you 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals, and he can guard anybody on the floor. I think the most versatile defender in college basketball he was last season, second best defender overall behind Ruben Chinyelu at Florida. But that's just in the 2026 class alone. Go back to 2025. Duke's entire 2025 starting lineup was selected in the 2025 NBA draft. 3 of those picks in the top 10 in Cooper Flagg, Kon Knipple, and Kaman Malawach. Sion James and Tyrese Proctor both went in the second round. But those are just the last 2 years. Jon Scheyer is an absolute recruiting mastermind. He's one of the best recruiters in the country. Obviously, he's got the name like Duke. He's got that NIL fund that comes with Duke basketball to his advantage. But more often than not, if Jon Scheyer really, really wants a recruit, he is getting that recruit. And there hasn't been too much buzz with a bunch of different recruits in the 2027 recruiting class that Duke has been interested in. They've only offered two of them, two prospects in that recruiting class, both of whom we are going to get into today. But two really highly touted guys that can come in and impact the program right away. Duke will probably see a lot of roster turnover after this season, the 2026-27 season. So the 2027 guys that Jon Scheyer and his staff have been involved with early, both really intriguing prospects, both with a lot of talent, I think can come into the college game right away and be really impactful players. But 247 Sports recently updated their rankings, their national recruiting rankings for the class of 2027. And both of Duke's recruits that it has offered in the 2027 class moved up in those rankings. So we're going to get into both of them here, talk a little bit about their games, any buzz between these prospects and the Duke program and where they stand. So the first recruit that Duke has offered, the first of two, is five-star guard Beckham Black, a 6'3", 180-pound point guard, plays at Southeastern Prep in Florida. So Duke offered him back in May. Beckham Black is the younger brother of current Orlando Magic guard Anthony Black, also teammates with Paolo Banchero. Really highly touted guard in the 2027 class, potentially the best guard in the entire class. He is rated that way. So he was already a top 5 prospect in the class, but he did see a slight jump in his ranking, according to 247 Sports in the latest update. So according to the 247 Sports 2027 composite rankings, he stayed in the same spot as the number 4 overall player in the class and the number 1 point guard in the class. But according to the 247 Sports top 150 for the class of 2027, Black moved up to the number 2 spot in the class. According to that top 150, he jumped former number 2 ranked player CJ Rosser. There's been a tiny bit of buzz between Duke and CJ Rosser, but not much in recent weeks. But Beckham Black jumped 1 spot to the number 2 overall player in the class. According to the 247 Sports top 150, CJ Rosser drops a 3. And again, stays put in the 247 Sports composite rankings. So obviously one of the most highly sought after guards in the class, received offers from programs like Michigan, North Carolina, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas, USC. His older brother, Anthony, did play at Arkansas. He played his lone college basketball season at Arkansas. Michigan is the most recent of the bunch to offer Anthony Black. But Duke has been in there early. Obviously, Jon Scheyer is interested in Beckham Black, as he's one of 2 recruits that Duke has offered. No official timeline for an official visit. He's taken 1 unofficial to Georgetown so far. But obviously the 2027 recruiting class live period just started. So that will take some time. Have to assume that Duke will try to get Beckham Black on campus sooner rather than later. But at 6'3", really good athlete, currently working with Team USA on that level, on the international level. But again, really talented player, looking to go into Istanbul, help the team win a gold medal, along with Joakim Bumche, who has also made the team for that class. But Beckham Black, one of the most highly sought after guards in the 2027 recruiting class, really talented player. Again, haven't heard too much between him and the Duke program, aside from the offer itself, which happened in late May, but have to assume that an official visit will be slated sometime soon. He's by far the highest rated recruit of the only 2 that Duke has offered, but a slight boost in his ranking. Already a top 5 player in the class, now regarded as the best guard in the entire recruiting class, according to 247 Sports. Going to be a really intriguing recruiting process. Obviously, Duke and North Carolina both in the mix for Beckham Black. Now, North Carolina is a bit interesting because Beckham Black was offered by the Tar Heels back in January when Hubert Davis was still the head coach. Does that have an effect? Maybe, maybe not. Have to assume North Carolina would probably still be interested with Michael Malone there, but who's to say Beckham Black would be interested with Michael Malone there as well. We still have such little evidence on how a former NBA coach has success at the college level, how he can develop talent. In theory, it makes a lot of sense. Learn an NBA system in college, get you to the NBA quicker, gets you ready faster. But who knows where that stands? That'll be an interesting development to follow between Carolina and Beckham Black. But Duke in the mix, Duke and Carolina both in the mix, along with several other marquee programs around the country. And the second prospect that Duke has offered in the 2027 recruiting class, one that's gotten a lot more buzz. He's a lot more well-known of a name probably among Duke fans so early in the 2027 recruiting class. Granted, if it's mid-June and you guys are listening to a Duke basketball podcast every day, odds are you're probably a diehard fan. So you might know both of these recruits very well already. But the second one is Kager Knippel. Obviously, family ties. Duke has been interested in Kager for a while. He was the first prospect that Duke offered in the 2027 recruiting class. Not as highly sought after as a guy like Beckham Black, not typically a player that Duke would offer so early. He's a 4-star recruit in the 2027 class. Obviously, his brother Khan had a vastly successful lone season with the Blue Devils as Duke made its run to the Final Four in 2024-25. Khan was absolutely fantastic in the ACC tournament when Cooper Flagg missed it with injury, won the ACC tournament MVP, helped Duke secure the ACC regular season and tournament titles, averaged over 14 points per game, went on to be the number 4 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft to the Charlotte Hornets, where it did not take him very long at all to have success at the NBA level. Shot over 40% from 3 on nearly 8 attempts a game, set the NBA rookie single season record for made threes in a season with 273. He also led the entire NBA in made threes last season, finished second in Rookie of the Year voting to none other than his former teammate, Cooper Flagg, who won the award, but now Duke in the running for Kager Knippel, his younger brother in the class of 2027. So Kager, similar and different player to Khan, I think, in a lot of different ways. Kager, 6'10", 225 pounds, lengthy wing type of forward prospect, has a really talented outside shot. He's a good defender, but a really intriguing prospect who's starting to become one of the biggest risers in the 2027 recruiting class. Now, Duke obviously has been interested in him for a while. Again, not as highly sought after of a recruit. Kager holds offers from Purdue, Wisconsin, Toledo, and DePaul in addition to Duke. He has already received a crystal ball prediction to land at Duke, obviously very early in his recruitment. He did come out and say that he will not just be automatically following Khan to Duke. He's going to test his recruitment, whatever big-time programs come about that will happen eventually. He will listen to them. He will see the best fit for him. He has said that he will not just follow Khan to Duke. Obviously, already has a crystal ball prediction there. Duke seems to be the early favorites, but no marquee programs outside of really Purdue and Wisconsin that have at least sent an offer out right now. But with his jump in the recruiting rankings on a national scale, have to think some big-time programs will get in there. So Kager Knippel didn't just rise. He absolutely shot up the national recruiting rankings. So he's still a 4-star recruit. But is starting to become one of the biggest risers in the entire class. So again, not just a boost. He had the biggest jump of any recruit inside the top 60 of the 247 Sports composite rankings. He is now the number 52 overall player in the class, which is a 28 spot jump from where he was before. That's not even the craziest part. And then at the 247 Sports top 150, Kager is now the number 28 overall player in the class, a 94-place jump for Kager Knippel in that 247 Sports top 150 has really shot up as of late. Again, his three-point shooting stroke at 6'10", I think is really intriguing. He's got a good handle. He's a good defender. Duke fans, if you remember, Khan was an absolutely fantastic defender for the Blue Devils, still an effective defender at the NBA. But Kager, I think, is a lot more intriguing just with his length and size and ability to shoot already. Really exciting prospect. Obviously, Duke has that family ties advantage, but Kager has come out and said that he is not automatically following Khan to Duke. He will listen to the other programs. But Duke still, the two prospects it has bought stock in early on for the 2027 recruiting class, seeing jumps in their rankings, rising up the class, especially Kager Knippel, but two prospects to follow as time goes on. But that is going to do it for us here today at the Duke Blue Devils Insider Podcast. Just like every day, we thank you so much for tuning in to the show today. Make sure to check us out every single day at si.com/college/Duke, as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Once again, my name is Hugh Strain, your daily host, as well as beat writer at Duke Blue Devils on SI, and I'll see you tomorrow.